What's up guys, Humphrey here. Today we're talking about passive income and how you could possibly make $100 per day in 7 different ways. The funny thing about passive income is that rarely is it actually completely passive. It takes a lot of work at the start to kind of get it going. And the whole goal of having passive income is to get to a point where you're not trading your time for money. The easiest example I can kind of think of right now off the top of my head is, let's say you're a recording artist like, I don't know, Taylor Swift. Every time you hear a Taylor Swift song play in your department store or your grocery store, she's not actually there performing the song, but she's still getting paid on those royalties. Although that would be sweet to have Taylor Swift sing at your local department store, the chances of that are probably 1 in a million or even millions, and the chances of you making free passive income are virtually 0 as well. There's no such thing as free passive income, so if you ever do see a get rich quick type of scheme, don't fall for that. So that's kind of what passive income is to me. The more time that you spend up front to get it going, the more that it's going to pay off for you in the long run, which is really cool. It's going to be like a money-making machine. So let's get right into it. Now, before we start, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. So if you do end up enjoying this content, make sure to subscribe. It's free and you can always change your mind. So the first method to make passive income is capitalizing on what you already own. Now, this isn't going to be 100% completely passive, especially at the start, but let's say you own something like a house, a car, maybe you own the rights to photos or music, or maybe you have some camera equipment. What you can do is rent it out. If you have a spare bedroom, you could list it on the Airbnb platform. And now that the pandemic is slowly coming to an end, we're likely to see that activity for Airbnbs pick up throughout the summer. If you have a car that you don't use that often, Turo.com is a great place to rent your car that actually gives you the same type of experience or the same type of vibe that Airbnb does, but just for your cars. Let's say you have a Jeep. You could be renting that out on Turo.com, depending on your city, for up to $100 per day. And some people have even gone as far as to just get leases on Jeeps or other types of cars just for the pure fact or pure play of actually Turoing them out. Turo even has a full list of cars that are the most profitable, and they even calculated out for you how quickly you can break even on a monthly payment, which I thought was pretty cool, and I'll share that link for you guys in the description below. Another option, if you have a camera, is that you can upload your photos onto stock photography websites like Shutterstock.com, and basically you can get a passive income royalty whenever somebody downloads your photo. That, or you can just rent out your camera. There are websites like ShareGrid.com that allow you to rent out your camera equipment, and there's a huge demand for it because of how expensive photography equipment is. The second method I have for you guys is to earn passive income through stocks and dividends, and this can actually be a very true form of passive income. Hear me out. So a dividend is a portion of profit that's returned to you by the company that you invest in for just owning one share of their company. So let's say you buy stock in Home Depot, and Home Depot right now is offering about a 2% dividend yield. So for every $100 that you have invested in Home Depot, you can expect about $2 back per share that you own every single year. Now, to earn $100 per day through dividends, that's about $36,500 per year. So if a dividend on average pays between 2 and 5%, we're gonna need a lot of capital saved up. In fact, even at 5%, the minimum balance that you would need is around $730,000. That's not always easy, so what I would actually suggest doing is that you invest regularly and consistently, and if you can take a portion of your paycheck, every single paycheck, and sock it away either in stocks or dividends that are paying you a decent return, you could potentially get to this number a lot quicker than you imagined. It becomes a little bit more feasible when you're investing in something with a higher return. So for example, the S&P 500 index fund returns about an 8% average per year. An index is like the S&P 500. So if you invested $1,000 into an S&P 500 index fund, that $1,000 would be distributed among 500 of the top US companies, weighted by how big those companies are. So you'll actually get 2% of Apple, 2% of Microsoft, 2% of Amazon, and so on and so forth down the list of 500 US companies. For example, if you invested $500 a month and you got an 8% return, and you did that every single year, well, in about 29 years, that $500 a month would slowly get you to $730,000 in capital. But the idea is that there's a large community of people that believe if they can save more of the difference between their income and their expenses and invest it all into, let's say, the S&P 500, then they can get to this magic number even faster. The positive side here is that investing in index funds and dividend-paying stocks can actually be completely passive. So a lot of people can just park their money into an index fund and basically forget it. And it's one of the best ways to actually build your wealth, so much so that Warren Buffett basically advocates it every single time for average investors. If you are interested in getting into dividend stocks or index funds, you can buy them on brokerages like Fidelity, Robinhood, Webull, or Public. And if you want some links to some free stocks using those brokerages, you can use the links down below in the description for that. All right, the next method to get about $100 per day in passive income is actually starting an online business. And out of all the options available today, I would say this one is probably the hardest, but actually going to be the easiest to get to $100 per day if you're able to do it right. Now, this is something I've done personally with mapyournight.com. I've set up the entire production process of that website so that it's completely hands-off and runs on its own. Essentially, my website allows people to order a custom star map of the stars on what they look like on the day they met or a special occasion. And when someone goes and visits my website, they customize an order. And once they place that order, it actually gets routed to a printing facility in middle of America. And from there, the printing facility takes care of the rest. They package, they ship it, and they get it to the end customer. At that point, the main thing that I'm responsible for is getting traffic to the website to basically get more orders and also support, so any customer support that's needed. Now, luckily, both of those things can also be outsourced. Now, if you're able to set the right systems in place, this running an online business type of thing can be completely hands-off, which is one of the great things about having an online business. Once every week, I just go in there and check in on how it's doing, and every single day it generates about $300 in sales with a 30% profit margin is about $100 per day. Now, you don't have to use posters. You can literally set this up for any product out there. For example, if you wanted to sell candles, you could order 1,000 candles from a manufacturer and just ship them to what's called a 3PL. A 3PL is a third-party fulfillment center, which will allow you to basically package and ship those products directly to customers without you having to be there. Now, this won't take you 20 plus years to basically generate about $100 a day in passive income. You could get there much, much faster, but the problem is that it's going to take a lot of work up front and a lot of learning up front to get there. However, once you have those learnings, setting up extra additional businesses to get you that $100 per day is going to be pretty easy. If this were a video about side hustles, I would definitely list running an online business as one of my top side hustles for that type of video. The next passive income method is rental real estate and getting rental income through that rental real estate. Now, this is one of the assets that's incredibly tough to get your hands on, but once you do get your hands on, the numbers and the math behind it can be pretty compelling. For example, if you bought a house in the Texas area for $150,000, well, a 20% down payment would be $30,000. After that initial investment, you could probably rent out that property for, say, $1,250 a month, which every single year will be bringing you about $14,400 in rental income. You would have a mortgage of around $120,000 at a 3.1% interest rate. That works out to about $510 per month in expenses. And you probably want to have a cushion for other type of monthly expenses like taxes, insurance, maintenance, CapEx, and maybe vacancy. So all in, those expenses might total around another $500 per month. So in addition to our mortgage, our total expenses are around $1,000, but if your rent is $1,250, that means you're profiting $250 per month on the rental income. Not only that, you're going to be building up a lot of equity in the house. And with the way that the real estate prices look like these days, you're also going to be hopefully capturing a lot of appreciation over the next 10 or 20 years. Now, the biggest issue I see with rental real estate is that it takes a large amount of capital to get started. In our example, it still took a $30,000 down payment. In addition, you're going to have good credit and an ongoing income to support the mortgage payments. According to Morgan Stanley, most millionaires actually name real estate as the most popular alternative asset by a wide margin, and that makes sense to me. Real estate naturally provides some protection against inflation because if there's a lot of money being pumped into the economy, there's a finite amount of land out there. So if you do own some land, the prices of that land are going to appreciate as more money goes into the system. Now, to make $100 per day in passive income with real estate, it's going to take a lot of work. You're going to have to acquire a lot of properties, but you can get it to a place where you don't even have to manage anything because you can hire property managers to do it for you. If you're young and you're getting into earning money and investing, owning a real estate rental property should be in your long-term sights. We want to own assets that are appreciating over time, and real estate certainly has stood that test of time of appreciation, and most people actually say it's one of the best ways to be wealthy. So instead of buying depreciating assets like designer handbags or fancy cars, you want to invest in appreciating assets because those are the assets that are going to fund your passive lifestyle later on in life. Now, the next method of passive income is actually a real estate investment trust. So if you want to get into real estate exposure, but you don't have enough money to get into rental real estate, you can buy what's called a REIT. Now, REITs you can buy on the stock market. REITs are groups of investors that invest in commercial properties and they collect that rental income. You could have a REIT that's focused on retail malls. For example, Simon Property Group owns a lot of malls and is a type of REIT. You could have a REIT focused on apartment buildings or a REIT focused on healthcare facilities. Legally, REITs are required to pay 90% of their income as dividends back to their shareholders. So if you do own a REIT, then you're going to be getting that dividend income. Some of the most popular REITs include Realty Income Corporation with a dividend yield of around 4.3%, or Simon Property Group, like I mentioned earlier, has a dividend yield of 4.26%. And by owning these REITs, you're also actually capturing any appreciation on the underlying investment itself as well. A lot of these REITs were hit hard during COVID because of the pandemic, and a lot of these commercial businesses did not do very well. However, with the pandemic slowly coming to an end, we could see a bounce back in these REIT prices. If you don't want to be concentrated in just one REIT, you could buy also what's called a REIT ETF, which is a collection of REITs in just one fund. For example, Schwab's US REIT ETF, ticker symbol SCHH, or Vanguard's very popular VNQ ETF. All right, guys, the next passive income method I have for you guys is actually using cryptocurrency. This is a rather new one for passive income, and it really depends on your risk tolerance, but these days there are websites like BlockFi and also Gemini, which are offering you between 6 to 8.6% interest on your money. Now, what you actually have to do is you have to actually move your cryptocurrency from your own accounts into their accounts. And according to BlockFi's website, BlockFi generates interest on assets held in interest accounts by lending them to trusted institutional and corporate borrowers. So essentially what they're doing is they're taking your cryptocurrency and lending it out to even bigger financial institutions and trying to make the difference on the interest there. This has a varying level of risk depending on the website that you use and how much you trust these websites, but essentially you're sending your Bitcoin and Ethereum into their accounts, and basically those are not FDIC insured. I wanted to bring this up as an option because I do know some friends of mine that are using this BlockFi or Gemini interest accounts very actively. Now, the other option you can do with your cryptocurrency, specifically Ethereum, is you can stake your Ethereum for interest. Staking just means that you're locking up your Ethereum for a period of 1 year in order to help support the operations of the blockchain. Basically, your Ethereum is helping validate transactions on the Ethereum network, and as a result, you're actually getting a reward, and that's even more Ethereum. The current rewards for staking Ethereum is between 7 to 8%, and if the price of Ethereum goes up after 1 year, even better because you're capturing that appreciation. Staking is a fun way to earn passive income, in my opinion, and also it will actually lock up your Ethereum so that you're not emotionally going to just panic sell it off, especially if you believe in the long-term prospects of cryptocurrency. I'll try to make a more in-depth video on staking in the future, so be on the lookout for that. The next method to earn passive income is to build a platform online. Now, this is one of the ways that I've used to earn passive income, but this is something that you could do too, as long as you have something of value or some sort of entertainment to provide to the internet at large. Even if it's just a small platform, you can make a lot of money in passive income. Now, there was a famous article written in 2008 by Kevin Kelly, which was called 1,000 True Fans. The 1,000 True Fans theory states that in order to earn a full-time living, someone just needs 1,000 fans paying about $10 a month, and that would be an actual salary of around $120,000. So then the question becomes, am I able or capable of creating something of value that someone will want to pay $10 a month for? That certainly depends, but with some creativity and some ingenuity, you can actually do it. And there's a great example of this. It's actually called elonstocks.com. And this person realized that every time Elon Musk tweeted about a stock or a cryptocurrency, those assets would move in price. So he created a service that texts you every time Elon Musk tweets about something stock or cryptocurrency related, and you'll get that text immediately. For $10 a month, you can sign up for this service, and basically the idea is that you can capitalize on any of the tweets that Elon says because you're getting it to the minute. Now, I'm sure it's just a bot that's sending you all these messages whenever Elon Musk tweets, but this is a really, really great example of passive income that someone set up at the very beginning. They put a lot of upfront work to create the bot, but as a result, they're able to charge $10 a month for it. So when it comes to building a platform online, you want to be as creative as possible and kind of think about the different ways that you can get someone to pay you $10 a month for something. Now, if you are interested in starting a YouTube channel, which is what I did, I have a video on how I got from 0 to 100K subscribers that I'll link here. And I really like YouTube as an outlet for creativity. Not only that, I inspire a lot of people to take action in their own personal financial lives. That's super inspiring to me, and it also allows me to do this stuff full time. So thank you guys for watching my videos. I certainly do appreciate it. The idea of this video is that passive income takes a lot of upfront work, but if you're able to consistently put in the work, those gains will compound over time. Now with that time, I know that you can get to about $100 per day using any of the methods listed above. The other thing is that you don't need to earn just $100 per day using one of these methods. You could try 3 or 4 or 5 of these different types of methods to get you to a net $100 per day in passive income. Try to diversify your income sources as much as you can, because research has actually pinpointed that millionaires on average have around 7 income sources. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to drop a like on this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel, and tick the notification bell to get notified whenever I drop a new video. If you'd like some free stocks, use the links down below for that. And also thank you to all my Patreon supporters. I appreciate you guys being here. If you're interested to see what I invest in and also get buy and sell alerts, the link for that and my Patreon is also down below in the description. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.